Hello and welcome to My Opinion Archive. In today's video I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to give you a top 3 list of cartoons from my childhood with a interesting premise. I have decided to do this video because I would like to share some of these interesting shows with some people who might be too young to have seen them, or perhaps some people who've also seen them and hopefully have some interesting memories to share about it. I hope you will find this interesting. I'm going to start off by explaining what the show is about, and then I'm going to tell you why I liked them as a kid and why I still like them, and basically what I think their ideas are interesting and, as far as I'm aware of, quite unique. Before I start the list, I would just like to say that this is just my pick of some of the shows that ran when I was a child. There are others who are also interesting, but I decided to just leave it with 3 because I don't know how popular or interesting this kind of content is. So if people like it, I might make other lists. And this list is not in order, so the first one I say isn't necessarily the worst, and the one I end with isn't necessarily the best. So the first one on the list is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It is an American animated television series. It was produced by Cartoon Network Studios, and the show first premiered on Cartoon Network on August 13th, 2004. The show is set in a world in which imaginary friends and humans coexist, and in the show we follow a boy named Mac, who is pressured by his mother to abandon his imaginary friend Blue. After the two of them discover an orphanage dedicated to housing abandoned imaginary friends, Blue moves into the home and is kept from being adopted as long as Mac can visit him on a daily basis. The show mainly revolves around Mac and Blue as they interact with other imaginary friends and the house's staff and live out their day-to-day adventures, often getting caught up in various predicaments. What I liked about this show when I was a kid was the many interesting and unique imaginary friends that we meet throughout the show, with very interesting looks and personalities, and of course the very weird adventures that the duo experiences. The episodes I remember as the most interesting ones were the one where Mac was put in a situation that prevented him from visiting Blue, and this made the very big and of course dramatic tension about, is he going to make it in time, or is Blue going to end up becoming adopted by someone else? And of course those were very, very interesting for me as a kid because there was a lot of stakes. It was very exciting to see it happen and see how are they going to solve it this time. Now that I'm older, I have of course come to like the show for other things, especially its uniqueness. I really find this idea interesting of a home for kids' imaginary friends. I don't think I've encountered anything like that before. And the whole adoption of imaginary friends, I also think it's interesting. Of course, one thing I have come to think about, because now I'm of course a very cynical adult, so I have to overthink everything and think the worst case scenario, is that this means that the imaginary friends could end up being abandoned again and again by kids and being put up for adoption multiple times. But I remember the show very fondly, so don't take that worst case scenario and overthink it too much as I have done already. For my second part of the list, and that is a show called Danny Phantom. It's an American superhero animated television series created for Nickelodeon. The series premiered on April 3rd, 2004. The series follows a teenage boy who, after an accident, with a unpredictable portal between the human world and a world known as the Ghost Zone, becomes a human-ghost hybrid and takes on the task of saving his town and the world from subsequent ghost attacks, using a different variety of superpowers that he gets throughout the show. In the show, he gets help from his two friends, and in later seasons of the show, his older sister, who for the most part of the series run are among the only people who know about his double life as half ghost, half human, where he of course in ghost form is a superhero. So what I liked about the show when I was younger and what I like about the show now is more or less the same thing. I like the interesting ghost characters we meet throughout the show. Some of them are dead people and we know their background, we know how they died, and others we aren't exactly aware of how they died. And what I also liked about it is that all the ghosts have unique powers. Some of them can control machinery, and they all sort of have a theme about them. You know, one of them is a hunter, one of them is a lawman. He enforces the law in the Ghost Zone, and I really like that sort of thing, that they are unique in different enemies with different powers, and many of them you get to meet multiple times, so you get familiar with them. Another thing I like about the show is what I would call a common theme among many of the shows from my childhood, and that is the whole secret life, double life theme, or whatever you would like to call it. There were many shows in my childhood that had this sort of thing to the stories, so that isn't unique to this story. But I have always found that interesting, so I really like that. One thing I remember very well from the show, and this is going to be a big spoiler, so if you have an interest in the show based on what I have said up until this point, then I suggest you move on, and I'm probably going to put some sort of timestamp or something in here. You have hereby been warned. So now I'm going to spoil it. What I remember very well is the episode where we meet Dark Danny, as I have come to know he is called. It is an evil version of Danny from the future. And what I like about it and what I remember about it is, first off, evil Danny looks really cool. That's of course the thing I'm going to remember from my childhood. But what I also remember is that he actually had a background. He has a story. We get a short story about how Danny, the hero we follow throughout the series, turns evil. And I really like it. It's tragic, it makes sense, and it involves major deaths of characters we know. And now for the last show on this list. It's called Codename Kids Next Door. Normally it's shortened to KND. It is an American animated television series created for Cartoon Network. The series came about as a result of a viewer poll by Cartoon Network. It ran from 2002 to 2008. In the series, we follow the adventures of a group of 5 10-year-olds who operate from a high-tech treehouse, fighting against adults and teens who are the villains. The weapons they used to fight these villains in the show is known as 2x4 technology, and it is, well, I have learned that this term covers wood. It's basically a different way of saying wood, and wood is what the weapons are mostly made of. The kids throughout the show use code names, and their numbers are 1, 2, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are known as Sector V, and they are part of a secret global organization called the Kids Next Door. It is a secret underground organization that no parents or no adults, except for the villains they fight, have any idea about even exist, and most teenagers has no idea about its existence other than those they fight throughout the series. Now, what I remember liking about it as a kid was the idea of this top secret organization of specially trained kids who fight many weird enemies throughout the show. There's a character called Sticky Beard, who is a pirate who steals candy. And I also remember the term decommissioning. It is something used throughout the show to describe a process in which an agent of the KND gets his or her memories deleted when they reach the age of 13, because then they're teenagers, then they are no longer kids. And that is also the explanation for why no teenagers or adult remember a secret globally spanning organization of kids. And that I've come to really appreciate as an adult, that there is actual explanations for this, that someone crafted this world with many deep explanations for many of the things we see throughout the show. I don't exactly remember why the term decommissioning, and this is of course loosely because I saw it in a different language, so I don't remember the word decommissioning exactly, but what I remember is the process. I can't even remember what the word for decommissioning is in my language, at least not the one they use in the show, but that's beside the point. But I cannot remember why I specifically vividly remember this process. My best guess is that the idea of having your memories deleted was quite scary to me as a child. And as an adult, I have found it, well, again, the cynical adult who has to overthink everything in me tells me that this is quite tragic, because all of these kids who have all of these experiences and memories, their best friends are going to have them deleted. So again, do not overthink children's TV shows like I do. Unless you want to, then I really want to hear what you come up with. Just write in the comments. And now I'm going to stop my rambling. The last thing I want to say about the show is that I still find these ideas very interesting. And I have come to like the childish touch in the show that I have realized as I researched it to remember some of the details about it. And that one of them is that, for instance, the leadership of the KND is chosen with a game of tag. Basically, the last person who gets tagged is going to be the leader of the KND. And first off, that's not a very effective way of choosing your leadership, but I like it because it fits an organization exclusively made by kids. The last thing I have come to like in the show is something I have only just realized later, because as I said, when I grew up, I heard the show in a different language, in English. But what I have learned to understand is that many of the characters throughout the show have a different background than just American. For instance, number 4 in the show is Australian. And I have really come to like this, that this show shows kids from different backgrounds working together. That was the end of this video. As always, this has been My Opinion Archive. I hope you liked the video. I hope that if you have no idea what these shows are, that you found my explanation of them interesting. And if you do remember these shows, then tell me about them. Tell me what you thought about them. Tell me some memories you have from them. Tell me about other shows you really found interesting from your childhood. I would like to hear about it. I hope that someone out there finds this video interesting. And if you would like to see more lists like this, then let me know, because I can certainly make more of them. If you would like me to make more of them and have improvements I can do, then please tell me, because I love to get some feedback.